6, Cooking Matters. Obviously, a little recap. Cooking Matters is a 6-week hands-on cooking course that we have been going through. We've had quite a journey discussing health and wellness, cooking tips, how to shop on a budget. A lot of the recipes, as we've discussed, can be purchased for $10 or less and can feed, as many of you have found out, probably trial and error, can feed anywhere from 4 to 6 people. Even though it might just be 2 people in the household, it can feed about 4 people, 6 people. So we've really had a great time just engaging in sort of a informal and organic discussions about health and wellness and how we can learn to make better choices. Obviously, Sadie and myself, we have sort of driven some of the discussion, but we have learned just as much from you all as you all have learned from us. All right? And that's sort of the goal of these classes. We've encouraged that dialogue. You have met that challenge, and we appreciate that. So, how did the shopping challenge go? Not easy? It isn't easy, is it? How many people got to the register and then realized, oh, I got to go back and get something else? I got how much? $2. Let me go get something else. A lot of times that happens, you know, so very cool challenge. We really, really like that day because we get a chance to just frequent a store, maybe not necessarily a store that we went to, but obviously your local market. You get a chance to sort of see some of the things that are offered, you know, how to select different fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, grains, lean meats, low fat dairy, things like that. So we really, really look to sort of reinforce that on that day. And it really ties in a lot of the discussions that we were having at the previous 4 days when we get to that shopping tour. So today, we're going to sort of round out our discussion. We're going to talk a little bit about our friend sugar. Sadie's going to jump in and talk a little bit about our friend sugar. I've got some visual aids set up here. Some of you may drink these things. Some of you may not. But we'll talk a little bit about sugar and how we can calculate the sugar content on some of the beverages. For our demo today, we're going to do a nice, healthy veggie wrap. Real simple, easy. We'll also have a healthy drink alternative to these that we'll do, right? And I've got some nice citrus fruit. We'll garnish it real nice. We'll be real grown up today. Okay? All right? We'll be real grown up today, nice and fancy. So yeah, it's gonna be a great day. I put up a little sort of crude diagram up there about sugar, and Sadie will speak a little bit more to this. But remember when we talked about fat and how to calculate fat, and we did that blubber burger demo? You guys remember that? You remember that calculation? Because fat is always in grams on your nutritional facts, right? And then do we all know what a gram is, really? Right. So the way that we were able to calculate that is we take grams, the total grams, and we divide by 4. That will give us teaspoons of that item in our nutritional facts. So just as it works for fat, it works the same for sugar. So we'll talk a little bit about that. What are some of our favorite beverages that we like to drink? I love water, but I know some folks like to do juice or things like that. What's a favorite beverage? Pepsi. Diet Pepsi. Awesome. We got, do we have any Diet Pepsi? No Diet Pepsi today. Anybody else? Iced tea. Iced tea. Like Lipton, Brisk. Is it Honest John's? What's the one? Crystal Light.
I brew my own.
You brew your own?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sweet, unsweet?
Yeah, I use a sweetener.
A sweetener?
Yeah.
Water. Anybody else got a favorite drink?
Welch's grape juice.
Welch's grape juice. 100% juice does have a lot of sugar, right? We'll have that in part of our example here. Okay? So we'll talk a little bit about that, right? In addition to being able to calculate teaspoons of sugar from grams when we look at certain items that we consume, we also should keep in mind what? Size, serving size. Now, some people may look at this bottle and say, well, hey, serving size is one bottle. May not necessarily be the case, right? For example, serving size for this guy here, 3. 3. So I'll tell you what, I know I don't have the discipline to just, and oh, that's enough. Let me put this in the refrigerator. Who does that? Right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, very deceiving. What some of the companies are doing, I think the Pepsi or the Coke that's out here, they have actually changed their serving size. So they will say serving size 1 bottle, right? But when you look at that total grams of sugar, it's sky high, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. Sadie, I hope I haven't stolen your thunder.
Absolutely not. I'm
All
just
right.
passing this out.
All right.
So you can measure. Absolutely. I just want you to eat sugar.
All right.
All
All right, let's give it up for Sadie.
All right. Okay, so, hi, it's morning time. All right, so some of you all are sharing. So what I've done is that I passed around a lovely beverage. You may not drink it. You probably don't like it. You may have had it sometime in life. Don't feel guilty. Remember, no guilt, no shame. Not in this class ever. What we're going to do is have you measure the amount of sugar that is in that entire bottle that you received. So what Sam wrote up here, a teaspoon is equivalent to 4 grams. So what did we say was the most important thing to look at on the nutrition fact label? Serving size, right? Not to say that everything else isn't important, but it's a matter of how much of that product, portion size that you're consuming, right? So what I want you to do is first look at the serving size that is on that bottle. Is the serving size of the bottle you have 1? Is it 2.5? Yours is 3, so the Arizona tea is 3. Yours is a bottle. What about for other people? You have 3 servings? Okay. So that's important. Okay? So that's the first step, determining the serving size on there. So for a serving, I want you to look at the grams of sugar. So if you have 1 bottle, your total grams of sugar is 69, right?
18, so that would be
And how many servings do you have?
2.5.
2.5. So looking at the number of grams of sugar that you have, you want to multiply that by the number of servings on the bottle. So, for example, for the whole bottle. So for the whole bottle. So, for example, I'll help you out. So for this Pepsi, a serving is 1 bottle, and it has 69 grams of sugar, okay? For the whole bottle, that's how much is in there. For that group, they're going to divide it by 4 to get the number of teaspoons of sugar that you have to scoop in the empty cup, okay? So for over here, for this, it's 3 servings. So 1 serving is 28 grams of sugar. You multiply that by 3 because you want what's in the entire bottle. And you say 84 grams of sugar. She's going to divide that by 4 to give her the number of teaspoons of sugar that she's going to scoop out. So it looks like everyone's done. All right. So some of you all have pop, some of you all have energy drinks, some of you all have iced tea, sweetened. So tell me, are you surprised by the amount of sugar that's in that beverage? So let's start over here. So we have Pepsi, And this could be equivalent to Coke, Mountain Dew, same Sprite, Sierra Mist. So 1 bottle, 69 grams of sugar. What that looks like is how many teaspoons?
17.
17 teaspoons of sugar. All right, so then go ahead.
How many are we sugar? How much sugar are we supposed to have in one day?
How much sugar are we supposed to have in one day versus how much we actually eat? You know, the American Heart Association says women should have 6 teaspoons of sugar, so about 24 grams a day, and men can have 9, 36 grams. I mean, it's really going to depend on the amount of calories overall that you take in. You know, it could be 100 calories allotted to a dessert or a sugary beverage out of 1,500, 2,000 that you've consumed. So ideally, if you've eaten enough vegetables and fruits and whole grains, you do have some wiggle room for discretionary calories if it comes from sweets. But we know today's society, people consume much more sugar. You're adding sugar in, and sugar is already in something else, a baked good or something. You all have Faygo Pop, orange. I grew up on red, is what I call it. It's not the flavor, but it's the color. So this is 8 ounces, so it's 2.5 servings. So 1 serving is 33 grams. You double that. How many teaspoons do you get? Is it this one?
It's around 20.
20 teaspoons.
Wow.
So it's more than what's in here. And I mean, for some people, so the Pepsi was 69 grams of sugar, so it came out to be 17 teaspoons. The Faygo, what was the total amount of sugar?
Faygo red.
33.
Faygo orange, so over 66. That one, I can't do math.
It's about 80.
80 teaspoons? I'm sorry, so not 80 teaspoons. 80 grams, if it's 80 teaspoons,
Now that is a lot.
right? Now we have the lovely Sierra Mist lemon lime soda. And this one has a total of 52 grams of sugar. And how many teaspoons was it? 13 teaspoons. So less than those two. But let's face it, it's a hot summer day. People are thirsty. How easy is it to drink this down quickly?
Really?
It quenches your thirst, as Sprite says, but then you want more, right? But it has sodium in there. It has salt, right? As well as carbonation. You all have, anyone drink Arizona iced tea? Well, this one is Arizona cherry juice. Okay, so not even iced tea. So total grams of sugar was 54 and 13 and a half. And here, you all have, anyone love cherry Coca-Cola? Sounds good. 1 serving, 70 grams of sugar. So 1 gram more than that. And you probably have around the same, 17 and a half teaspoons of sugar. And the thing is, people don't stop at 1. They stop at several. Now we have milk, plain skim milk, 11 grams of sugar for 1 serving, but you had 22 grams of sugar, right? So for 1 serving, it's 11 grams of sugar, but the whole bottle is 22 grams of sugar. There is some sugar in there naturally, but we still wanted to measure it out. If it was a flavored milk, it would have much more sugar because added. So if this were to follow the new nutrition facts label, to let you know how much added sugar is in here, it really shouldn't be any added sugar. It should be what's naturally present. So this one is, but for the sake of just doing a demonstration to show you, it's a little, it's a little bit less. You only probably have 5.5 teaspoons. We have Faygo grape, not red, but Faygo grape. So 84 total grams of sugar because 1 serving is 28 grams of sugar. So how many teaspoons? 21 teaspoons. So more then the Pepsi, then the cola, and the other Faygo over there, because this is 24 ounce, and I think that one's a little bit low.
That's my favorite.
Somebody said it. Monster energy drinks, kind of similar to Amp or Red Bull. So one.
I was guilty of those.
Guilty. I remember sophomore year in college, they were advertising it. I took a sip and threw it in the garbage. I was like, I don't know what this is. And I didn't know much about energy drinks, and I know more now. So for this one, it's 2 servings, and you get a total of 54 grams of sugar. And how many teaspoons? Similar to that other one over there. About 13 and a half. Yeah. So similar. I know you all enjoy reading labels and will continue to read labels after this class, but it's so important to know what is in your drink. And I'm pretty sure when you purchase these beverages, it's not that you don't know at all, but you just may not be aware of how much sugar is in there. I remember drinking Kool-Aid growing up, and there was no discretion of how much sugar. It was, you put enough to make it sweet. And if I know, 4th a cup, it just went in there 12 times. I mean, in a large pitcher, but still, that's a little bit too much. Nonetheless, Sandy.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
I've made recipes calls for 1 cup of sugar.
Okay.
So like if it's a banana bread or something, and you slice 1 cup, and it's 1 slice, it says 1 cup. About how much sugar are you getting?
So she was saying, you know, when making baked goods, she makes banana bread, and in the recipe she uses 1 cup of sugar. So I know a 1/4 of a cup would be, you have 4 tablespoons of sugar, so times 12, about 48 grams per 1/4 cup. So, but when you're making baked goods, like cookies, right, you have to consider how many servings. So for a banana bread, depending on the size, are you slicing it into 6 thick loaves, which is gonna have a little bit more sugar? If it's cookies, is the cookies able, you know, can you make 24 or 48 cookies? That way you won't get as much sugar. So you could always try to decrease the amount of sugar and see if you get the same flavor in them. But usually like a tablespoon of sugar is equivalent to 12 grams of sugar. So I know like a 1/4 a cup is 4 tablespoons and a 1/2 a cup is 8. So a cup is 16 multiplied by 12. So you divide that total number by how many servings of bread you serve to get the amount of sugar. Because most recipes calls for like a cup and a half. So once you made it the first time and you've tasted the product, and maybe if it's too sweet, you can scale it back. I know I made peanut butter cookies. It called for a 1.5 cups of sugar, peanut butter. It was only 5 ingredients, no flour. And I was able to make about 36 cookies. So the next time that I made it the cookie smaller, and I reduced the sugar from 1.5 cups to 3/4 cups. I can even scale it to 1/4 cup because the peanut butter was fresh honey roasted peanut butter. So I probably could just take out all the sugar together and just, you know, use what's already natural in the peanut butter, because that's what I taste. But it does get you to think about, okay, let's go beyond pop. What other foods have sugar in them, right? So if you have grandkids, nieces, nephews, you know, being mindful of the type of beverages that you provide them, even though 100% juice is what is recommended, it naturally has natural sugar in there, nothing added, but some of it is really processed, highly processed, like your apple juice, even though it's 100% and contain a lot of sugar in there. So you want to just be mindful when it comes to little kids, you know, maybe 4 ounces. Some people like to dilute the juice with water, because what we're going to do today when we make our drink, we're going to have a lovely, nice, flavorful juice, 100% with sparkling carbonated water. Now, what type of beverages? Oh, so some of you all, what other beverages do you all drink? Water, lemonade, iced tea, flavored water. And hot tea. Anything you put in your hot tea?
I put Crystal Light in water.
Okay, so you put Crystal Light in water for flavoring, which I don't think has much sugar in there. It just has the artificial sweetener in there. Lemonade.
Yeah, I have it for my grandbaby.
That's a,
But I dilute it.
which makes a difference, so you don't get as much sugar, right? Remember, this is a no judgment zone. We've all done this. I'm not saying you're bad and don't feel upset. You might have enough room to have discretionary sugar.
Coconut.
But
I've done coconut.
okay,
Pineapple water.
coconut, pineapple water. I didn't hear coffee.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Right? So how can you make a beverage healthier? Turn to page 12. What would you consider a healthy beverage? Coffee, something to wake you up, whether if it's caffeinated. Water,
What's your take on decaf?
decaf.
The decaffeinated process may be harmful.
You know, what isn't harmful to us? I mean, and if you feel like it hasn't had an adverse effect on you all these years, then, I mean, it's decaffeinated, so you might not go to the bathroom as often as you would with caffeinated, but, you know, caffeine has different effects on different people. Right. What would you consider a healthy beverage? So water. Skim milk. So you got low fat, you have water. What else? Sandy. So almond milk, because then you unsweetened almond milk, so you don't get as much sugar, but you get a little bit of protein, but it's fortified with the B vitamins and calcium, right? So nourishment. Soy milk, same thing. So you get a little bit of fiber, get some protein, you get nutrients in it, right? Water, but it's just important to stay hydrated. No matter what beverage you choose, what fruit you choose, if you're not getting in enough fluid, fruits have water naturally in them. Vegetables like cucumbers, tomatoes, fruit, I know, right? Those are important too. If you look on here at the bottom, have you ever tried any of the choices that they suggested on making a healthier beverage? For example, the soft drink. So combined in 100% juice with seltzer water. You ever tried? She said no. She said that doesn't sound right. What about, what's a natural way to flavor your water? Lemon.
I even use cucumber or strawberries.
Okay. Any kind of fruit. What about for other people? What have you tried? How do you flavor your water? Does fruit work for you?
Just lemon. I've never tried it. I will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Lemon and cucumbers. Some people put mint or some sort of herbs in their water. The herb, yeah, the plant, the herb mint. It definitely gives it a refreshing scent and taste. So that's a way to do it. You know, they have the water bottles that have kind of like the diffusers in the middle, right? I do it because it looks pretty. So anytime people, they look and say, oh, what are the health benefits with that? I don't know. It's pretty. It makes me want to drink more water if I don't drink enough. Okay? Milk, skim milk. You know, we talked a little bit about dairy. So in terms of dairy, we're shooting for something that's low in fat and low in sugar, right? Because that's important too. Now, anyone drink sports or energy drinks?
We're too old.
Is there such thing? Too old.
Too old for palpitations. That's
Too old is like 200 years of age. You're not old. No. So, I mean, throughout the course, we talked about label reading. We talked about getting more fruits and vegetables, getting more whole grains, varying your protein sources, right? Not just relying on meat. Tofu could be an option. Beans could be an option. Quinoa, you know, different choices. Beyond having a healthy diet to keep you well nourished, what else should we be doing to be healthier? Exercise. Why is exercise important? Yeah. Keep everything moving. You burn calories. What else did I hear? What did she say? Increase your metabolism. Because your heart is a muscle and it needs to be worked so it can efficiently pump blood throughout the body. But tell me some of the benefits that you've gained when you've exercised.
Pain.
Reduces pain. Emotional well-being. Absolutely. Endorphins shooting out everywhere. What else for other people? What have you experienced? Energy. Right? So energy, emotional well-being, decreases pain. What about for other people?
Can help to promote weight loss.
Can help to promote weight loss, so maintain a healthy weight. Self-esteem, right? Energy. These are all important factors, right? Muscle mass. Because each decade we pass, we lose 2% of our muscle mass. And if you don't use your muscle mass, you lose it, and what ends up happening is that your body composition changes. So fat mass goes down. No. Let's say that again. Muscle mass goes down. Fat mass goes up. Because muscles is like your energy burner. You can eat more calories when you have a little bit more muscle. You don't use your muscles, you don't exercise as much, your calorie needs go down. You still feel like you eat the same, but you have less muscle mass. So when there's weight gain, it's not so much that you even change your eating habits, it's just that you're not moving as much. And with decreased muscle mass, there's just a cascade of events that happens. There's weakness, you don't have as much strength. It's easier to fall, have fractures. So whatever you enjoy doing, do that, whatever's in your capability. Like, what type of physical activities do you enjoy? Bike riding. Water exercises, walking. What about for other people? Hiking. What did you say? Swimming. Yoga. Aerobics. Anyone ever tried cardio drumming or heard of it? I've just heard like two participants in past classes just say you go, you might actually drum on something, but you are working out different muscles of the body. You would think that it wouldn't be a hard workout. It's really easy, but the next morning you really feel muscles that you probably haven't used in a while. But it's a little bit of drumming, a little bit of dancing. I would encourage you to do anything that you absolutely enjoy. If you have issues with arthritis, swimming or water aerobics, right? Yoga can be very relaxing, good for self-esteem, kind of cleanse the mind and the body, but just really, strengthen your bones. And they have yoga at all different levels, right? Different temperatures. You pick and choose. Do you want 110 or you want something that's kind of like 70, right? If you turn to page 13, this will give you some ideas of different activities that you may have not mentioned, like gardening. Please know, picking weeds, bending down, bending over, stretching, that counts as activity. Dancing. How many of you all clean your home? That counts. Too busy, okay. Well, so this gives you an idea of different activities for a number of minutes and how many calories you burn. But I would encourage you to find something. And I know they have so many different programs at the Caustic Center. I was looking at some, it's like, this is awesome, that you can engage in and do to stay physically active. It is so important because it definitely reduces your chance of being malnourished. You need that muscle mass, okay? You will have less problems later in life because of what you put in your body on a normal basis, you know. Sometimes it's not only about what you eat, but what you don't eat. You know, you might eat enough calories to sustain your weight, but is it coming from healthy sources? You might be malnourished, even though you don't look like it, because malnourished literally means that there's an imbalance of either energy, minerals, and vitamins that you're not getting. Okay, so sometimes we think to be malnourished, you have to look a certain way. No, no, no. You can be the most athletic person and be malnourished if you eat poor. Okay, just know, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, our eating and drinking habits were indicated in 60% of the leading causes of death. So you have heart disease, stroke, certain type of cancers, Alzheimer's is number 7, or diabetes, right? So it's so important to be able to have this basic foundation knowledge, to know what's in your food, to grocery shop and know that you can buy a healthy meal for $10 or less, depending on where you shop, right? Okay, and exercise is so important. But I do want to share something with you all before you do the funnest part of the program. I passed my exam. So I mentioned it, if you didn't remember, I took an exam to become a board certified specialist in geriatric nutrition. So this is my second time taking it. I missed it by 9 points the first time, and then I passed it. So I am excited. So it's been one heck of a week, followed by 17 games of volleyball in a hot sun in Port Huron, and we won. So it is. And then I get to come here with you all in the morning and have fun. And then Chef Sam's back, so that makes it even better. All right. So I'm gonna let Chef Sam take over. Oh, go ahead.
Quick question, when you're talking about the beverages,
Yeah.
green tea has been all the rage.
Yeah.
Where do you stand in terms of that?
You know, it's nutritious.
So it is true.
Yeah, it's very nutritious for you. Multiple health benefits. It's more so like the nutrition that's in it, the nutrients, the vitamins, minerals that keep you healthy. It's
So that's
one
an
food.
alternative.
It is. It's an alternative. Green tea, some other herbal teas, you know, anything that's calming, chamomile tea, anything. So, and if you don't know much about, you know, something that's touted to have all these health benefits, just research it. You know, and really find out what's in it, why is it helpful, you know, and then pay attention to your current eating and drinking habits. If something bothers you, figure out what is the ingredient in it. The more processed foods that we have, we don't know the long-term effects on our health. But for some people, you know when you're allergic to something. You know when you've introduced something new into your diet, you're like, what is that? You might have an effect, whether allergic or just an intolerance. So we just encourage you just to pay attention to the ingredients. Ideally, if you could buy food that comes in a package, 5 ingredients or less. I mean, for those that were with me, we talked about peanut butter. Peanut butter, Jiffy, has, I don't know, 6 ingredients. Hydrogenated oil, sugar, salt, fat, peanuts. Whereas some other peanut butters just have peanuts. I remember someone was like, but if it doesn't have salt in it, it doesn't taste that great. That's fine, you can add it yourself. No, I'm just kidding. But just pay attention to the labels. 5 ingredients or less, make sure you can pronounce them. If you can't, then it's like, because probably you don't have that ingredient at home that you put in your foods, so you probably don't need it. But the first 5 ingredients weighs the heaviest. So if you buy bread and whole grain is like the 13th ingredient, what else is in it? You know, right? Right? Candy, we know what's in candy. Sugar, 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 some fat, depending on if it's chocolate. But just pay attention to what it is that you eat, okay? Any questions before you get your hands involved in cutting and shredding?
One question, but it's not pertaining to what we talked about.
Okay.
But I heard it in class and I couldn't remember the reason behind it.
Okay.
Like the cooking oil, you said it's not good to use it over again.
Oh,
Cooking oil?
Like, I think when I was doing the blubber burger, and it was the Crisco, and sometimes people would drain out the grease and put it back in the can that it came in, and why not to reuse that grease?
You don't want to reuse that because every time you use oil, cooking oil, once it's done, you know, the oil has been, once it's been used, it has been denatured away from its original state. So it's not, the properties of that oil is not going to be the same. Okay? So usually when we're talking about sauteing or cooking oils, we're not using a lot of oil in it. It's a component of the food. So it's like what, I mean, you know, when we saute here, what do we use? Tablespoon tops, right? When you're frying, you're using a little bit more. You're pan frying, you're using a little bit more. Now, depending upon, usually my rule of thumb is I'll use, like if I'm deep frying something, which is rare, I may use that oil twice, but I'll clean it after the first use. And then I'll use it again, and then I'll discard it. So that's, you know, most commercial kitchens usually get anywhere from 3 to 5 uses out of their oil. You know, sometimes those fryers are running all day. So at the end of the day, they're draining them, cleaning those fryers, and then filling them up with new oil the following day. Sometimes they'll do it for 2 days, that sort of thing. So usually that's your rule of thumb. You don't really want to, if you're in a position to not reuse oil, and you can use new oil when you're beginning a cook process, then I would recommend you do that.
I heard once I took a class that if you use it too many times, the trans fat builds in it, and that's not healthy.
Well, most oils now don't have, the trans fat component has been removed. So that's not something that we typically have to worry about now in unsaturated fats, which is basically, you know, your salad oils, your vegetable oils, your soybean oils, your peanut oils, things like that, corn oils. You're going to see, you still may see some trans fats in certain baked goods, but they're moving away from that as well, because as we discussed, trans fat was that fat that was allowing pastries and baked goods to remain shelf stable, to be more tasty, but it's the worst kind of fat that you can consume. Okay? All right. That's weird. I put my gloves on to handle food, and now I have to turn these dirty pages and switch my gloves. All right, so we're going to do one of Sadie's favorite recipes today. It's on page 137. So we're going to do a veggie wrap today. And we got a little bit of time, so let's just go down this real quickly. Once I explain this, we'll wash our hands and then we'll come over to the kitchen and we'll get everything done today. What I'd like to try and have you guys do is to shred all of our vegetables. We don't need to, usually when you buy these guys, sometimes you can run it through the salad spinner. Usually this stuff comes pre-washed. This is organic, so we're not going to wash this today. We're going to use whole wheat tortillas today as well. Everything else, though, I have washed, okay? So we've got some radish, some carrot. I also added a little bit of yellow squash. Then I have 2 types of cheeses that I normally forget, but I will not forget today. 2 types of cheeses, Swiss and cheddar. Avocado. Got any avocado fans in the building? So we are going to make a spread for our sandwich today, our veggie wrap. And we're not going to use mayo. We're not going to use that stuff. We're going to use non-fat yogurt, a little bit of lemon juice. The recipe does not call for salt and pepper, so we're going to omit it today. But when you do this at home, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper, a pinch of salt, sort of wakes up the spread. And then we're going to add some lemon juice and our avocado, and we're going to make an avocado yogurt. And that's going to go on our sandwich, okay? So radish, carrot, salad greens. We're going to add a little bit of fresh parsley into our avocado yogurt. Then my cheeses I mentioned, a little bit of squeeze of lemon juice, and I have added the yellow squash and some green onion, some scallion. Okay. So really, really cool recipe, really quick. These are a hit at my house with the kids because they're versatile as well, because you can call an audible and add lean turkey breast as well, that sort of thing. So that's a recommendation as well. Okay? So we're going to do that. And in addition to that, we are going to do on page 90, we're going to do a raspberry lime fizz. Okay? So I've got some cran raspberry juice. Okay. I've got some cranberry lime juice. We've got some sparkling water, some seltzer water. I've got some ice. I'm going to kind of set that up here. And then we'll do the fizz. This is cool as well because you can get that effervescence from your soda. When you're using the sparkling water, there's, no calories, no added preservatives, no sugar, right? We're going to get all of our flavor from the juice, and we're only going to use a little bit of the juice. And then we'll spike it with a little lime juice, a little lemon juice. It'll be tasty. Okay? Does somebody have a question?
My thing is, I can't have dairy.
Can't have dairy. So no yogurt? Okay. So what I will do is I will make, you can have avocado? Okay. So we'll just make a plain avocado spread for you. Okay? Anybody else have a dairy issue? Okay. All right, so that's what we'll do today. So page 137 is the veggie wrap recipe. So if you guys want to look that over, and then as you're doing that, go ahead and head to the washroom. Let's get our hands washed, and we can come over to the kitchen, and we'll start prepping.